Hey everybody, welcome to the Jesus is Changing My Life podcast. This is a space where everyday people will share their stories about how Jesus is changing their life. We hope you enjoy this episode, and we hope it encourages you to tell others about the God who is changing your life as well. Well, hey, welcome to the Jesus is Changing My Life podcast. My name's Tim Riley. I'm the pastor at Connection Point Church, and I have the honor of sitting with someone that I first met as a teenager, Johnathan Hale. Say hi, Johnathan.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, listen, we are simply going to have a conversation today, Johnathan, about what Jesus did and is doing in your life. I mean, we talk about it a lot here, that it's not necessarily just that Jesus changed our life at salvation for eternity, but like, what is Jesus doing that's changing our life? And that's why we created the Jesus is Changing My Life podcast. It's an opportunity to get people comfortable talking about how Jesus is changing their life. So, man, I just got two questions for you today. And the first is, would you just fill us in kind of a little bit of your story of life and where Jesus showed up in your life and what that looked like?
Yeah, sure. I appreciate that. So, at a very young age, I was part of the church. And I used to go with my grandma, and my grandma would take me. And sometimes it'd be these pop-up churches, like in the middle of a strip mall or something. So you'd go in, and it'd just be like a pop-up church, 10 to 15 people there. And I think that she told me from the very beginning when I started going, was like, you're going to be a preacher one of these days. And just, had set that in my head from the very beginning. And we went to several churches when I was younger. But
this was, where did you live?
In Ohio.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Cool.
So it was while I was in here. I was born here in Sydney, Ohio. So we travel over going to these different churches around, and so I kind of started there. And I had some family that was always in church, so I always heard about church and things. But I don't think church became real for me until I became a teenager, around 13. We went with some family members, and we typically just started by just going out and getting food and hanging out. Girls were at church, and that's kind of the reason why we went. Yeah. So, you kind of, get out of the house and go do something. But I remember whenever it became real to me, and I remember that of praying the prayer of salvation when I was 13 years old. And at a church that I'm sure everybody will know or has heard of, called Stinking Creek Baptist Church in La Follette, Tennessee.
Hold on. Stinking Creek
Baptist Church.
In La Follette, Tennessee.
That's it. Okay. And, so
shout out to Stinking Creek.
Like I said, I'm sure everybody already knows. Yeah. So it was just a down home Southern church, but I found God there, and I found my salvation there, and that was when it became serious to me. And ever since then, I think I tried to understand what religion was and what Christianity was and how do I fit that in my life. And it's kind of led me to where I'm at today. And
Yeah, man. So did they say it differently? Or what happened that time when you heard the gospel that made you respond in a way you didn't respond a month before?
Yeah, I think it was just my situation in life, just being a little more mature and understanding, that I want my soul to be in a place where, not in hell,
Right, sure.
So, whenever you get older, you start understanding that a little bit more, and it becomes a little more important. And it becomes more than just chasing girls or going to church to get out of the house. It becomes, I want to know who Jesus is, and I want to start a relationship with him. And I think whoever spoke that day or whatever was said, it just grabbed my heart in a different way than it ever had before.
That's
and it changed my life forever.
So of course, just like all of us, the minute you accepted Jesus, everything was perfect for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah, absolutely perfect. Nothing else ever happened. Yeah.
Yeah. So has it been a roller coaster?
It's been an absolute roller coaster, and it still is today. I mean, it's. I think one thing I've found is nobody ever said it was going to be easy. Nobody ever said that, hey, you follow me, and this is, hey, you don't have to do anything else.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of growing up that had to be done before I realized that was the case. But I think it's just a nice way to keep us moving forward and getting us closer to Jesus. So
yeah. So you mentioned a couple times that you've kind of grown up, you've become more mature in understanding what Jesus is doing and why he's doing it. When did that change for you as an adult? Like, when did you kind of flip the switch and go, okay, I need to like click this into gear here. Something's different again.
Yeah, sure. I think after I started having kids, me and my wife, we have four kids, and in the early stages of parenting, I think it was just super difficult for us to come to church, and it was just a lot of work hauling kids around, really young kids, and we kind of started not coming one Sunday, and then one Sunday turned into 3, and then 3 turned into 3 years, and then it turned into me just not being around a group of people that had my back, and it turned into me kind of questioning and denying things and looking into scientific stuff, and it got me in a really bad spot. But I think just being away from the church is kind of what created that, and from there, it finally took, seeing my family and me not being the leader I should be, before I was able to get back into church again.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't it interesting, man? Like, it's never about attendance.
Yeah.
Right. It's never about like whether you go to church or don't go to church. But when we say that, like when we say, hey, I haven't been going to church, what we're actually saying is I haven't been going to see the church, because the church is a people.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
And when we stop surrounding ourselves with people who are moving towards Jesus, man, it's just a slippery slope, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's just you're getting attacked from every angle, and you have no answer for it. And the answers you do have for it are not the right ones anyways.
Yeah.
So it just seems like you're constantly being attacked, and you just can't find a solution ever.
Yeah, I know, like for me, when I look back at my life, the lowest point I ever was spiritually was also the lowest point I ever was as a husband, and the lowest point I ever was as a father, and also the lowest point I ever was in allowing people to walk with me.
Yeah.
It
I feel
all
that pain.
fits together, you know what I mean? And sometimes we just miss that. And then when we have it again, we're like, oh, like I forgot. I'm not supposed to do this alone,
Yeah. And I think that I've, and I think that's part of that growth too, is finding out that you can't do this alone, period. You just can't.
Yeah.
And we are going to need people to walk this life with us. And I've found in those moments, though, there are people that step up, and there's people that that you won't forget throughout the rest of your life, just because they made that little impact in your life. So
yeah, and I know you want to do that for others too.
All the time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So thanks for being open about your story. I think it's important for the people to hear. It's been a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And what you've said is it still is.
Always.
And like just owning that, I think is important. So what is Jesus doing in your life now? Like, how is Jesus changing your life right now?
Yeah, I think, kind of piggybacking off of what we've just said, I think it's been more of a mindset change for me. And the mindset change occurred because of conflict and just those roller coaster rides that you go down in life. And probably about for a season of about 5, 6 years, I just could not get away from stuff. I just could not. I was just always getting hit by something. And it was just life-changing events and huge events that changed and rocked my whole world, my whole family's. And so I think that whenever you can change your mindset of, this is not sunshine and roses and rainbows all the time. Yeah. And I have no control over this life. And, and in some of those moments, I think I found out how fragile life really is. Mm-hmm. I think we take for granted everyday things, breathing, nature, that we take for granted. And I think that I had to find a place of 100% pure gratitude for even the things that I thought I deserved and I didn't have.
Wow.
Before I was able to come to a place of thankfulness for what I do have. And I think when you lose everything else, and you have nothing else to turn to, and you can find a way to be grateful for that, for what you do have, it can change your mind. And
it changes everything.
It changes everything. It changes your whole outlook on life. Yeah,
Johnathan, my first week here at Connection Point, your mom passed away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it came out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
And not to just put your business out there.
Yeah.
But just to say, like, I know your family was rocked by that.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one example of many that I've been able to share and hear your story. And, it seems like the minute you start to get some momentum, you get kicked. right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's your own doing, and sometimes things just
often.
happen, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes things just happen. And what I've seen, and I think what you're describing is what I would just call resilience. Like the ability to look pain in the face and say, God is still God.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that, it was easy for me to sit in a pit of despair and just say, I had every excuse in the book to sit and do nothing, and nobody would have questioned it. And but I saw the fruits of that, and it wasn't where I wanted my family to be. It wasn't where I wanted to be. As my kids got older, I started seeing that I wasn't the supporter or the parent that they should have had in their life.
Yeah.
And like I said, I could look back and give many excuses for why those things happen, but I had to stare it in the face and say, it's not going to get the best of me today.
Yeah.
And I've got to rise above this, and I have no control over what's going to happen. And there's going to be several more things that's going to come out of left field and just knock me off. And I've got to be ready to face it and keep going. And I think I'm able to do that because I'm more thankful now than I ever have been for everything in life.
Yeah. It's interesting because even just a few weeks ago, part of the language we use here at Connection Point is we're all striving to become everyday disciples, right? Who are becoming everyday missionaries, right? That it's not about Sundays, it's about Monday through Saturday,
Yes.
right? And it was interesting. I remember sitting with you and you looking at me and saying, for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm actually becoming an everyday disciple.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. And I think it's, whenever I talked about finding out how fragile life is. And I think it keeps showing up to me in one way or the other. And it just helps me to be thankful for what I have. And then also, it showed me that I was taking everyday relationships for granted. The people I work with on a daily basis, I feel like my relationships with those people have just strengthened because I'm more serious now. Whenever we have a conversation, it's not just about a football game. It's not just about killing time to have a conversation. We get into each other's lives. And then whenever you start feeding into people like that, they feed back. And it just grows and grows and grows. And it's amazing what it does in life.
Dude, that's awesome. So let's say there's somebody listening right now, right? And they're like, cool, bro, in the midst of your pain, you're still trying to be grateful for Jesus, but you don't know my pain.
Yeah.
I hear you, and that's great for you, but there's no way that I can be grateful in the season I'm in. What would you say to them?
Yeah, I think I was in that same spot. I was saying, I can sit and make excuses all day, and I can sit and not do things that I want to do because of something somebody did or somebody said to me. But everybody's story is different, and the more you talk to people, the more you build relationships with people, you see these stories, although they're different, there's a reason why we go through what we go through. And sometimes, I don't think you know that for many years later.
100%.
When I was going through stuff with my mom, I can think back to times through life that prepared me to go through that. And I just say, you got to keep fighting. I don't know why we go through the things we go through, but there is a reason. Yeah. Keep your focus on God and keep running that direction and not look back.
Yeah. And understand that even when that happens, your life's still going to roller coaster.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody's saying it's going to get easy.
No.
And, there's not very many times in the Bible where I think this is easy and it's not going to require any work from you.
Yeah.
So
I can think of none except sin.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the Bible that's just easy.
Yeah. And it's a daily fight. It really is a daily fight.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, Johnathan, thanks for hanging out a little bit with us today. Do you have anything you want to say to wrap us up? As anything that you're like, oh, I really wanted to say that before we were done?
I can't think of anything right at the moment, but
okay.
I will say that, whenever you start realizing that, sometimes it's not always about movement and getting to one spot or the next with God. Sometimes it's proximity, and that proximity will carry you through everything. no matter how bad it gets.
Yeah.
So never lose that proximity, and always stay close. It doesn't have to be about doing the right things all the time. It's where your heart's at, and just keep striving to be a better person every single day to every person you come in contact with.
Yeah, and keep journeying towards Jesus.
Always.
That's it. And what's interesting is if you find yourself listening to this and you realize you don't have proximity and like you're far from the Lord, here's the crazy part. If you will just turn and say, Lord, I need you, you'll find that he never left you.
Never.
He's been there the whole time. Mm-hmm. You don't have to wait for him to come back because there is no distance there.
Yeah.
You know? And so that's something I'm learning in my own life. That as I look back, the seasons where I've been far, he was never far. I was far.
Yeah.
And somehow that's true, that I wasn't far, but that I was far, but he wasn't far.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
It's, you start realizing that the closer we are with God, and the more we build up these relationships, you see life through a different set of lenses.
Yeah.
I mean, I see life differently today than I did 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I see life today differently than I did this weekend.
Wow.
Because it does not, you can't control it, and there's no control over it, and you got to take it every day, and it's going to be something different. So
yeah, awesome. Well, hey, if you're listening to this and you're wondering what you're supposed to do with it, here's what I'll tell you. The simple message of today is just love God and love others. Like, take care of each other and never lose sight of who God is in your life. But maybe you've got your own story of how Jesus is changing your life. Do you know sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is look at someone else in this world and just tell them, Jesus is changing my life. And when they ask how, tell them how. Be ready to answer that question in this moment. Maybe you have a story that you're thinking to yourself, I want to talk to Tim about how Jesus is changing my life. If you'll go to jesusischangingmylife.com, there's a form on that website that you can actually fill out. And there's a potential that maybe we'll sit in two chairs and talk about the same kind of thing that Johnathan and I are talking about right now. So thanks for joining us. Hope you have a great week, and I hope you're encouraged by the story. Thanks, Johnathan, for being with us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's not easy to talk about this, but I feel like this gives us a platform where we can come out and say things that we don't get to say on a daily basis. So I love it. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome, Johnathan. Hey, y'all have a great week.